Most gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for another day that you blessed us with, dear Father. We just thank you for this opportunity that we have together here, dear Lord. We just hope that everything that we do and say will be accordance to your will, dear Father. We just ask that your guidance in every decision that is made here today, dear Father. Just be with the ones that are sick in our community, Father, that just need your touch, and just touch them in ways that only you can do, dear Lord. Just ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jack.
Morning, Joe. You want to hurry up?
Minutes.
We've got two sets of minutes. The third is long and the 11th is the short one.
Which one?
The first one. Newton County Board of Supervisors met in a regular first of the month meeting in their boardroom in Newton County Courthouse in Decatur, Mississippi on the third day of February 2020. Sheriff Jody Pennington opened the meeting as prescribed by law. Steve Seal, Vice President for the meeting, included Kenneth Harris, President of the Board, Jackie Johnson, Vice President, Joe Alexander, Charles Moses, Charles Godwin, George Hayes, Clerk of the Board, Jason Mangum, Board Attorney, and Steve Seal, County Administrator, were also present. Joe Alexander made the motion. Charles Godwin voiced the second the motion to approve the January 16, 2020 board minutes as corrected. The motion carried unanimously. Charles Moses made a motion. Joe Alexander voiced the second motion to approve the docket as recommended by the comptroller. The motion carried unanimously. Noted delinquent justice court fines for the month of December 21, 2019 through January 20th, 2020 were $468.24. American Municipal Services collected for the same period were $1,038.70. There were 131 new cases opened during that period with fines in the amount of $42,525 levied, with $2,809.50 collected from the new cases. There were 29 dismissals for the period. Noted the MDOT has approved advertising to replace a bridge on McElhaney Road Project LSBP 5114. Bids will be opened at 10:30 a.m. on March 2nd, 2020. The county has received the first payment for use tax from the state. The money must be spent for road and bridge purposes. The new fund has been set up to account for the fees. Joe Alexander made a motion. Charles Godwin voiced the second motion to approve the budget for Fund 160, use tax. The motion carried unanimously. A copy of the new fund's budget has been included in these minutes. Mississippi State University, acting through the MSU Extension Service, would like to enter into an interlocal agreement with the county. The only difference in the current relations with MSU and the county would be that the county would no longer write payroll checks for MSU Extension Service employees. The county will be sent a bill to reimburse MSU for the county share of payroll. Currently, MSU Extension Service employees receive a payroll check from both Newton County and MSU. This agreement would simply streamline the payroll process. Starting date of the interlocal agreement would be April 1, 2020. Joe Alexander made a motion. Second motion to approve the interlocal agreement with Mississippi State and Newton County. The motion carried unanimously. Page 2. Noted February 17th has been declared state holiday by the governor in observance of George Washington's birthday. Joe Alexander made a motion. Charles Moses voiced the second motion to approve travel for Brandy Norton referral for hostage negotiations and talk tactics on February 10th and 11th. Cost of $300. Fred Hardy to Pearl for County Fire Investigator training on February 10th and 13th. Cost of $100. Bridget Cater and Caleb Rice to Meridian for ICS 300 training on February 11th and 13th, and February 26th and 27th for ICS 400 training. Brian Taylor to Rankin County EOC for Fire Coordinators Regional Meeting on February 13th for no cost to the county. The motion carries unanimously. The EMA office has provided listings of computers, laptops, tablets, external hard drives, monitors, and switch to be declared surplus. A listing of the 31 items has been made part of these minutes. Charles Godwin made a motion. Joe Alexander voiced second motion to declare the items as surplus property and post the items for sale and open the bids for the items on February 20th, 2020. The motion carried unanimously. The county is currently leasing a postage machine from Pitney Bowes. The machine has not always properly worked. And Pitney Bowes has not corrected the problem. The lease is set to expire on June 2020. MCC Mississippi has offered to pay off the remainder of the lease and to supply a new digital postage machine for $195 a month. which is about $53 less than the current lease with Pitney Bowes. Charles Godwin made a motion, Jackie Johnson was the second motion to approve the lease agreement with MCC Mississippi for the new postage machine. The motion carried unanimously. B2 Bearded Dairy Horses at 1891 Chapel Hill Road and 2460 Chapel Hill Road. B3 Buried a Horse at 357 Barfoot Road. Certificates from Doctors Melinda Barnes and William Marr stating that the horses needed to be buried because of the possible infectious or contagious disease, and it would also be in the best interest of the public. Copies of the certificates are included in these minutes. Note the Newton County Homemakers Volunteer Awards Luncheon will be held Thursday, February the 6th, 2020 at East Central Community College, Gordon Room at 11:30. Joe Alexander made the motion, Charles Mosby second motion to remove Wayne Loper as receiving clerk for B2 and appoint Cecil Williams as receiving clerk and appoint Wayne Loper as requisition clerk. The motion carried unanimously. Pinson Homestead allowed. Charles Mosby made a motion, Joe Alexander second motion to allow Shaquille Pinson to sign for Homestead as her deed was received before the 7th of January as required and dated December 31, 2019, aired in the Chancellor Clerk's office, and the document was not reported until the 9th of January 2020. The motion carried unanimously. Charles Mosby made a motion, Charles Godwin voiced the second motion to remove $154 from Casey Vance solid waste bill as a building error in the county occurred. The motion carried unanimously. 2 bids were received for surplus timber at the Newton County landfill. 1 bid was from Richardson Tire and Timber, and their bid was $12,650. The other bid was from Cheney Logging, and their bid was $5,100. Jackie Johnson made a motion, Charles Mosby was second to the motion to accept Richardson Tire and Timber as the best bid at $12,650, and the motion carried unanimously. Noted Charles Mose left the meeting to attend the funeral. Noted J.D. Anderson with Crane Tractor met with the board and advised that his company sold equipment and parts and would deliver parts to Newton County. Noted Brian Taylor advised the board there had been no problems with the new ambulance service and tendered his resignation effective February 21, 2020. Joel Alexander made a motion. Jackie Johnson was the second motion to approve the following changes upon recommendations of the tax assessor. Ralph Norman, disability homestead. Jesse Barrett, age 65. Kimberly Leslie, deleted homestead. Jason Kelly, disability. Sylvia Johnson, railroad disability. Edgar Poole, disability. Harold Leonard, over 65. And Melinda Connor, over 65. And Stephen Owen, disability. The motion carried unanimously. Joe Alexander made a motion, Charles Godwin voiced the second motion to approve of 2 advertisements in the Newton County Field, one added in the Newton County Profile 2020, and the other is in pitch perfect edition. Both ads are for half-page color. The motion carried unanimously. Noted the county engineer met with the board concerning upcoming projects. He also advised that they needed to turn over another project, Patterson Waterway. B2 was next up for a project. He passed his term to be pulled. Thank you. Charles Mose made a motion, Joe Alexander voiced the second motion to approve travel for George Hayes to Chancellor Clerk's training in Jackson, Mississippi, February 4th through 6th, with no cost to the county. Motion carried unanimously. Jackie Johnson made a motion, Joe Alexander voiced the second motion to approve school bus turnarounds on 2834 and 2787 Greenfield Road and 1456 Kitchener Road. The motion carried unanimously. Charles Godwin made a motion, Jackie Johnson voiced the second motion to proclaim March 28, 2020, and each year thereafter as Blinded Veterans Day. The motion carried unanimously. Charles Godwin made a motion. Joe Alexander voiced the second motion to approve December mobile home roll as presented and recommended by the tax assessor. The motion carried unanimously. Charles Godwin made a motion. Jackie Johnson voiced the second motion to approve to purchase 150 county maps from SE Map Solutions. The motion carried unanimously. Noted the board approved request for the use of the Senior Citizens Center for yoga classes by senior citizens. Noted Charles Mose, and I guess I need to put in Decatur. Noted Charles Mose entered the meeting. B5 approved to enter private property. Jackie Johnson made a motion. Joe Alexander voiced the second motion to approve travel on private property for road building materials on Daniel Slate property, Tony Dean property, on Blue Springs Road, and Jeremy Luke property on Buckley Road for road building material to be used on B5 roads. The motion carried unanimously. Charles Godwin made a motion to close the meeting and see if an executive session on personnel and economic development was necessary. The room was clear except for the board attorney, chancellor, clerk, and county administrator. Joe Alexander made a motion. Charles Godwin voiced second motion to enter the executive session on personnel and economic development. The motion carried unanimously. The same people as above were present. Rusty McMillan was invited into the meeting. That's 5. Joe Alexander made a motion. Jackie Johnson was second motion to recess for lunch. The meeting to resume at 1:15. The board was in recess. Jackie Johnson made a motion. Joe Alexander voiced second motion to come out of recess back into executive session. The motion carried unanimously. Joe Alexander made a motion. Charles Mose voiced second motion to recess executive session until 8:30 on February 4, 2020. The motion carried unanimously. The board returned into executive session at 8:30. The comptroller and the purchase clerk were invited into the meeting. Comptroller and purchase clerk left the meeting, and Alyssa Middleton and Brian Taylor were invited into the board meeting. Alyssa and Brian left the meeting, and Ashley Heisenmuller was invited into the meeting. Ashley left the meeting, and May Bender, tax assessor and collector, was invited into the meeting. Jackie Johnson made a motion. Joe Alexander voiced the second to the motion to come out of executive session with no action taken. The motion carried unanimously. Charles Moles made a motion. Joe Alexander voiced second motion to employ Ashley Heisenmuller as Newton County purchase clerk / payroll clerk and name Stephanie McMullen as payroll clerk and assistant purchase clerk. The motion carried unanimously. Raymond Boutwell Jr. commended for work as Justice Court Judge. Newton County Board of Supervisors expressed their thanks for the outstanding job Judge Raymond Boutwell Jr. did in completing the unexpired term of Judge McDonald. Letter sent to Judge Boutwell. Noted lease purchase agreement between Newton County and Banfor South for 2020 Dodge Charger. Lease number 1034 is included in these minutes. The vehicle is for the use of the Newton County Sheriff's Office. Noted employee changes: Wes Williams, B2, full-time at $16.32 an hour. Gary Seals, Newton County Sheriff's Office, full-time deputy at $40,000 a year. John Eddie Hodges, landfill, full-time at $12.50 an hour. Fred Hardy, Newton County Sheriff's Office, from $36,392.18 to $41,524. Andrew Barry Roberts, Newton County Sheriff's Office, from $30,692.20 to $35,002.26. Max Bounds, Newton County Sheriff's Office, from $30,692.20 to $35,002.26. Jackie Johnson made a motion. Joe Alexander voiced second motion to recess until February 20, 2020 at 9 o'clock a.m. Motion carried unanimously. You want to do one at a time, or you want to go ahead and read the
Just
third?
go ahead and let's finish the last one.
Okay. Newton County Board of Supervisors special board meeting on February 11, 2020. The Newton County Board of Supervisors met at a special board meeting in their room in the Newton County Courthouse on the 11th day of February 2020. A work session had been scheduled, but it became necessary to have a special meeting concerning personnel. The Newton County Appeal was notified by the board attorney, and appropriate notice of the special meeting was posted with the meeting to begin at 9:42 a.m. Charles Godwin voiced opening prayer. Present for the meeting included the following: Kenneth Harris, President of the Board; Jackie Johnson, Vice President; Joe Alexander, Charles Mose, and Charles Godwin were present. George Hayes, Clerk of the Board; Jason Manning, Board Attorney, were also present. Noted Alyssa Middleton from 911 Dispatch was called into the meeting. She discussed her responsibilities in the 911 office. Noted Robbie Richardson was contacted by phone concerning his interest in filling the EMA Director's position. Noted current EMA/911 Director Brian Taylor came before the board. Charles Mose made a motion. Charles Godwin voiced the second motion to hire Robbie Richardson as EMA Director at $17.50 per hour. Alyssa Middleton as 911 Director at $15 an hour, and Brian Taylor as Newton County Fire Coordinator at the same salary he previously had as Fire Coordinator. Motion carried unanimously. Now the board discussed amending the contracts with all fire districts within Newton County. The board attorney can make changes as presented by the Board of Supervisors. Surplus property, B2, Joe Alexander made a motion. Charles Godwin voiced the second motion to declare the surplus property 1990 Mack dump truck 152-103A is the property number. 17610 Ford tractor, property number 152-1872, and one half-ton pickup 152-1944 as surplus property to sell to the motion carried unanimously. Joe Alexander made a motion, Jackie Johnson voiced second motion to recess until February 20, 2020 at 9 o'clock a.m. The motion carried unanimously.
Thanks, George. While we on this page, let's go ahead and approve February 11th minutes. If there are no corrections or deletions.
On, Kenny, computer there on the surplus property item, I read the 7610 Ford tractor is now, elite four. And then he's gonna work out something on it, but he's doing right in his
Anything else on page 1?
Yeah, we'll do both of them in one motion.
Now back to today's minutes, February third minutes. Do we have any correction or deletions on page 1? Page 2? Page 3? Page 4?
On, down there at that mapping where we purchased 150 maps, they didn't put at what price, or was there a price involved?
Okay, there he is. I think it's about $600, but I'll give it.
Page 5. No corrections, can we get a motion to accept these minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Brian, you first on the agenda.
We gotta move these, that
Hey, how do you get it this morning? Good morning, sir. We tied in for the address that we use for this. So one of the others can take off. It's next to the last one, down there. That's the last list.
Okay. Yeah, Brian.
Got just a couple of things for you guys. I know the tax office asked me for a zip file for our addresses so we could update those. I'm attempting to get those, Ms. May got with me this morning. We have a computer down there that they have, we set up for them to use. It's been down there for a year and a half or so, for them to use for addressing stuff. But I'll get them the zip file to go to that, to the company that we're using now. We did inventory of the equipment since I'm leaving office yesterday. Me, George, and Mr. Steve did. We come up with some equipment that has either already been disposed of already, or some equipment that we would like to allow another government organization to utilize. Basically, some of it's hazardous materials equipment that we no longer have the personnel to be able to utilize, or either it's sitting there, it's going to end up rotting if we don't do something with it. So the three of us agreed that it would be a good idea to get that stuff off of the inventory. And it's a list of, I guess, pass it around. Do you have a list of it? Okay. That's a list of the equipment that we're gonna get off of the inventory.
most of it is from 2004.
This just computers and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of
stuff down here.
Some of the stuff is so barn, some of it's, we got down here, old computers and such as that.
Radio.
Yeah.
So we need a motion to declare it surplus.
Declare it surplus, and,
Now, this is not the stuff we have posted on the board.
it is not, no,
Okay, so
sir.
it's separate, okay.
As far as that, do we have anybody bid on any of that
No.
equipment? So that I can go and get rid of as
I
of
guess-
today as well.
Kenny, I guess we had a bid up today for the surplus, other for surplus property. There was no bid, so we probably just need to add that to this to
You gonna put it on
dispose
the
of
bulletin
it.
board?
Huh?
You gonna put it on the bulletin board?
It's already on the board.
This?
No, that's not.
AED
There's no need posted, there's nobody gonna
Can't
bid
get
on that.
batteries for the ones that are on that stuff there.
So your recommendation is to declare surplus and dispose of it.
Dispose of, yes, sir.
Go get a motion to that effect.
So move.
All in favor?
Alright.
What else you got for us, Mark?
This badge system thing, didn't we just purchase it?
We did, we purchased a new one, that is actually the old badge maker, and
Okay.
it prints a stripe right down the middle of it, you can't get that out of there, that's the reason we purchased the new one there.
There you go, Brian.
The other
Brian, you
thing,
might as well go ahead and see if they'll do a motion to dispose of that stuff that's on the bulletin board down there, because we didn't get a bid.
okay, yeah, we need to get a motion to do that as well, to get rid of the stuff that was based on the bulletin board that was never, nothing bid on, and, it was computers, all computers, and, I think a few jump drives or something, but.
Can we get a motion to that effect, to add that surplus with this surplus and get rid of all the?
I mean, if you want to combine it, I'll put it with the other motion.
I was gonna ask you, Mr. President, can we just combine it?
That work? Okay, good deal. The other thing that I had to bring before you guys is, the rural fire protection agreement for this year. I talked a little bit to Jason about it. And the discussion, I know y'all had a little bit of discussion at one other meeting about whether to allow what we're gonna do with the fire trucks at this point in time. But we're at a point that the state is pushing me to get these rural fire protection agreements signed and get them back to them. It's an agreement basically between the county fire departments and the board of supervisors. It's the same one that we sign every year. I've got a copy of that one, just like it was done last year with the updated dates. And I also have a copy of one that we have, working with Jason, needed put in there for allowing them to take ownership of the trucks as well. So,
I don't think they were ready to do that. That's why I think they just wanted to.
Well, I guess we got that verbiage.
years before? Okay.
Can I?
Go ahead.
Is this not a good time for us to put some verbiage in there about the maintenance and who's responsible for it?
So that's what was done.
That's what this is.
Well, I don't think it's in the new, and he said it was just like last year, that's why I'm asking.
Do we want to change that up some and bring it back to the next meeting, or do we want to,
Yeah, I think that needs to be in there.
okay.
Well, we never did do anything up here to tell Jason to change that.
Yeah.
And I think the board's gonna have to either make a motion to, and put it in there, or to add it on. Just hold off on that contract till we get that done, till we get some new language in it. It's not gonna be a lot, but it's gonna be some.
And if I could, if we get that verbiage to you, we can add it to the original, amendment to the original, right? Because that's gonna be the only change as far as, if the contract will be the truck part of it.
Right, I mean, but it's gonna need to be executed by both parties, so, I mean,
How do we get the verbiage right and then,
Yeah.
and then vote on it?
because ain't no sense in doing it twice.
Can we, I've got the actual Word file I can send to you, and I can
See,
see whatever you
are
want.
you going back now?
Yeah.
Email it to me, and I can pull it up
No,
here.
we need to make a change before we ever send it to the
If
fire
we,
department.
if you're able to do that today, that's great. If not, then, maybe we can get it on the next minute to make that happen, because like I said, there, I think I'd like to try to get that to happen there. I had lunch with the guys from CareMed yesterday. They just wanted me, they were not able to make it here today, either one of the guys, but they wanted to make sure that you guys have no questions, concerns for them, or, as far as from their side, they've got some new employees that they are hiring as of today, 2 new employees. They've had a little bit of trouble getting, employees, everybody they needed hired up, but I think they're about to get squared away now. After today, they should be in a lot better position anyways.
Randall, what's Randall left?
Johnson.
Randall Johnson, he's the contact.
He is one of
He's
the
the
contacts.
one-on-one, and what's the other guy's name?
Stan Alford is the guy that I work with pretty regular down there. And he
But
is
he's
from,
not the other co-owner, is
he is Stan Alford and, David Grayson
he? Grayson, right.
is the 2 owners of the company. And then I think Randall happens to be their government liaison, and then they have, Chris Ellis, which happens to be their operations manager. He's kind of been in and out some down here. But if I need something, I'll be honest with you, the person I go to is either David or Stan, one of the two. They seem to make, They seem to be the one, the buttons you push to make something happen, so everybody else don't seem to get much production there. Do y'all have anything else for me?
I don't.
Send that to you in a few minutes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Brian.
Yes, sir.
Miss Diane.
Good morning.
Good morning. I think I told off, this program was originally programmed for LSCP and county funds. He revised it since he has more LSCP funds
Yeah,
to use all the LSCP funds.
yeah, talked to Dwayne yesterday, and, that's what he said it was done, because, program on Newton County funds, and since, and he said that, LSPP funds are in now, so you can, go ahead and,
You want a motion?
Is this on that McElhaney
But it
Yes.
is, also need to get it stamped, I need to go back to your office.
Yes, ma'am. That's
What is that to amend it?
well, actually, you switch your minds.
Huh?
After you switch your minds, that's wasn't there.
I propose it.
I don't need to motion this, Jason.
I don't really know what y'all are doing.
What it is,
You're substituting LSPP money for county money, is that right?
yeah,
When it was originally programmed,
it was
there
counted
was
on.
not enough LSPP money available, but now it is.
Like that.
So we put it all on LSPP, and that releases county funds.
Right.
So, yeah, we can make the most of
When you
that.
get that.
I'll make the motion if y'all
Get
would.
them to make.
Yeah.
And
I'll second it.
Okay, what do you think?
You know it, or does Joey?
Yeah, we taking care of the money.
Charles made a
The
motion.
motion is gonna be to put the McElhaney Bridge to be all under LSPP funds now instead of LSP and county funds.
Just a second.
I say,
All in favor?
you need this back, I guess, George, you'll need a copy, won't you?
She's gonna take care of it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, you want to see the board? Oh, you with Jody? Jody, you want to see the board?
Sure, right?
Good.
How are y'all this morning? Give a little update on what we've got, what we've been doing. We've been doing a lot of work in the jail. The offices, the cells, the dorms, been painting a whole lot, been fixing some stuff down there. I talked to Steve the other day that we're fixing as much as we possibly can that we know how to fix. And Paul is taking care of the stuff we don't know how to fix. Y'all brought up surplus.
You didn't.
Earlier, we're gonna get
I
a
need
lot
some,
of
too.
vehicles that are down there at the jail, we're gonna get them declared surplus, and a lot of stolen or recovered property.
We'll do the rest of it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Smith.
Probably 10 or 12 years.
Wait a minute, Joe. What about the stolen property? You gonna have
Recovered property,
to
yeah.
recover property
Yeah,
to let it go back to the owners? Is that what you're?
we don't know who the owners are. Excuse
So
me.
you're gonna
Sit
describe
down.
that as surplus property too?
We are, we're gonna get a list and run it in the paper, for a certain amount of time, then after no one claim it, we're gonna have the judge sign the order to declare surplus. to the
Okay,
sheriff's office.
all right, I'm with you now.
All right, been doing a lot. I was patrolling, I don't know if y'all saw the paper or not, but we had a lot, busy weekend. We're trying to get things done as quick as we can and best we can, so that's pretty much where we sit at right now. Charles, I forgot to ask you, the computer on that van.
We hope it's gonna be back tomorrow.
Okay.
This is the van that we were talking about using for the trash pickup that Jody's had sitting there. It's been sitting at the sheriff's department apparently for more than 2 years.
Yeah.
We took it in and worked on it a little bit, determined it was a computer, and found that we could send that off and actually have it rebuilt, reprogrammed. It's supposed to be back tomorrow, so.
Good deal. I forgot to ask
We
you
won't know
about that.
about anything else until we can get it running, so.
Wanted to get this fixed, see if anything else stored.
Yeah, exactly. It may be something major.
Yeah, we hope not though. Anyway, Miss Sue
Yes.
and Elisa,
Lisa,
I can't remember her name. They know more about what I'm fixing to talk about, so I'm not gonna talk about it. That makes sense. What we want to do is to be,
That makes sense.
is to have the ability for dispatch to print off warrants when justice court is closed. Ms. Sue has talked to us a good bit about it. I'm going to see if they can explain it a whole lot better than I can. What, the whole purpose is, when justice court is closed, and we have someone stopped on the side of the road, we have no way to get to the warrants in justice court. We want to try to get a system set up to where dispatch can print off the warrants that's already signed by the judge in dispatch from justice court. So, ladies?
I think we talked about this before now.
And I think, I've been talking with Delta. They, 911 never purchased the license. It's view and print license. It's $500 to purchase the software, and it will cost them $20 a month for the service fee. And then that way they would be able to view and scan copy and print off the copy that the judge has signed. But the license had to be purchased.
How much is the license, 500?
And that's just a one time, and then it's 20 a month.
$20 a month.
Steve, we got that in.
Yeah, I think
And
we-
that would eliminate, because if the sheriff's department, if they do it from their office, it's gonna cost a lot of money, right?
It will.
Yeah.
And plus, we don't really need or want that responsibility of having certain deputies that can get into the computer, print it off when dispatch. It's a lot cheaper and a lot closer and simpler for dispatch, and when the deputy can come up there and get the warrant from dispatch.
24 hours, 7 days a week,
Yeah.
agency.
Yeah, we talked about this, but I think we were waiting on some information on it.
That's what I'm trying to remember, why we didn't do this. Because,
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
talked
I'm talking
about
a lot of money.
I think we had some information
I think the last time we talked about it, we wasn't sure
that it would tie
that
in.
it would tie in and they would be, or something. I forget what it was. but it was
On May
something.
the 22nd, 2018, I stayed over to help Brian. I got them connected to get the user information approved and signed, and they were just waiting on him to purchase the license. So that's, I think that was the whole.
So can cities do this too?
They have a different system than we do, so I don't think it'll tie in.
So
with
this is
the-
not gonna help
I don't think it'll help with Decatur City and Newton PD.
strictly the sheriff's
It's
office?
gonna be strictly the sheriff's office.
Carrier BPI.
They got System, and then Newton's got BDI, and I believe Union's got BDI.
But
It's great, I think so.
since we're patrolling in all cities now, we'll have a presence there anyway. I mean, from the sheriff's office.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, since we are patrolling in all the cities now, also, we will have personnel through the town.
Yeah, we're all over,
anyway.
we're all over county.
We
So it's
also,
still gonna help.
we also have access to the hard copies of warrants for Decatur PD and Newton PD, because they're in the department, and since we always have an officer on for those departments, they can easily run in there and get it for us. We just don't have access to the warrants for justice court, because it is a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and closed on holidays, nights, and weekends. And that's where we get most of our
President, make a motion
warrant
to
check
purchase this.
requests.
Do you see any problem?
The only thing that I've stressed, and I've talked to the sheriff's department, and I don't think I've talked to you, is warrants are not public record, that it's very important that it stays,
Confidential.
yes, very confidential. Until it's served, it's not public record.
Get the program, when will it go into effect?
They will have to get with Delta, which I can help them, because the system's already been set up, they're just waiting for the license to be purchased.
Okay, so.
So I think it would probably be in effect as soon as they go down there.
And of course, we'd have to do some training on it.
I made a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I got a little clarification. This license is gonna be to E911 person,
Yes,
that'd be listed under them, so the list will be,
70%.
you'll be signed up for another project. And it's
She,
view and print, they'll,
We won't have access to enter or edit anything. We can just see what's already in the system and print it off. So the deputies will have access to the copy they need.
that ought not to be a whole lot. I mean, you know, I know there's times, but as far as when not, justice court's not open, I mean, I know weekends are busy sometimes.
And nighttime usually, you know, they say criminal activity usually goes on at night. So if another agency arrests them and they call us to see if we have warrants on them, we are unable to check. And we are the only agency around here that dispatch does not have access to the warrants. So we're kind of in these stone ages there.
The only agency that don't have it,
The only agency that doesn't have access to warrant checks around. Scott County has it, Union, Neshoba, everyone has access to the hard copies of warrants. So when they call us to check on them, and we tell, if it's a weekend or something, we tell them they have to call back Monday, or the person that they have in custody possibly that we do want, that owes our county, you know, money, they have to let go, because we don't have.
okay. Well, in May of 2018, if we'd have went on through this, you'd have.
This wasn't on me until legally in 2018.
It's on us. If we didn't do it.
Charles, to answer your question, it happens more so than one would think, especially at nights and weekends. But
Oh, I can understand.
if you have two warrants that dispatch can get us, two warrants itself to pay for them about a year. So
Okay, that's it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
I'm sorry, what?
I was asking you what you were gonna say.
Yeah, I got-
You talked the other day.
Yeah, I got one more thing here. Y'all know a lot about this, more about this than I do, leasing of vehicles, equipment, vehicles, stuff like that. We've looked into it on 4, 5, and 6 year, I didn't bring the glasses, y'all can swim. 4, 5, and 6 year plan. I think Steve's a good fit.
His last number 9.
Oh, man, that's great.
In the Dollar General store at a reasonable price.
Well, I got them in my truck, I just got to bring them in. I got them strategically placed there. Anyway, we're looking into purchasing patrol cars, or leasing patrol cars rather. Our budget for patrol cars is $51,000 a year for 2 patrol cars per year. We can lease 6 patrol cars for 4 years for $56,244, 5 years, $45,713. I wouldn't want to go any more than 5 years. Y'all know more about this now. Tell me the ups and downs, the benefits, the pros and cons of leasing equipment, because I've never leased it.
Mileage is gonna be the only.
Mileage and maintenance, I would think, would be 2 biggest deals.
If it goes over the warranty on the mileage, and that's another thing, since we've gone to shifts, we're not wouldn't be putting as many miles on each patrol car. I was guessing about 30,000 a year per patrol car now, which would put us to 3 years.
Sorry to interrupt, your mileage is gonna be covered under that lease program, Jody.
Okay, good
You
deal.
have no mileage and maintenance as far as in the warranty.
Okay, thank you.
So it's not like a normal lease.
It's a government, it's a government lease, which is totally structured. If you look on page 2, Jody, it should explain those type of things as well.
That would be my only concern, would be the mileage.
And they're leased to the county, they belong to the county on the signed contract. They're leased, they're entitled to the county on the contract, they're not leased to a separate company.
All right, but still, who's gonna pick up the tab on my maintenance?
They'll be under warranty for a certain amount of time, and then after that, then they're
You have to
ours.
buy another warranty?
We would look into including that in there.
Somebody gonna pay.
You would do what, Jeff?
I wouldn't go down with the warranty,
But it's
don't
gonna,
hear it on the vehicle.
if I could ask him a question.
If he's
Sorry.
3 years, you're gonna get the price of
The warranty would be the same on a lease as it would a new vehicle.
Correct,
So your mileage is what's gonna pitch it, not your years, your mileage.
correct.
So it'd be just like if we bought a vehicle, they gonna leave the mileage up and we still got to repair it. That part would work out the same, right?
Correct.
Okay.
reason for doing that?
We just do it to provide some money, especially if they take the old ones and sell them.
But would this lease not be cheaper in the long run? Would the lease not be cheaper in the long run if you can get 4 cars for the price of 2?
It's like
Basically, is that
Steve
what he's saying?
Well, with all of our lease purchases, right now, we have set up on 3 years. So we're buying 2 new ones each year and then paying off additional ones.
Is this something like a guaranteed buyback? Will they give you a buyback, a guaranteed buyback on what you get for it in 3 years, or?
But the vehicle will belong to the sheriff's office.
If we would, let's invite this man up here, I think like he's the only one that knows.
He's the one pulling it up.
I reckon who he is.
He's the only one that knows this.
Sorry, guys.
We need cards and
So-
printouts and everything.
The idea behind leasing within the government leasing with this organization is that we're able to fulfill the need that we have right now at the same price that he's spending annually. So if you're looking at the 5 years and he's spending at $56,000 a year for 2 cars, you're spending 45. Now they're going to get their money as far as the interest rate. Where it benefits is that he's fixing the immediate need for cars. And that's why you would look at, yes, they're going to make their percentage, as any financing company would, but ideally fixes the need. Where it can benefit the county as well is that if you guys had other projects that you know are coming in October of next year or July of next year, you can tack that on there to reduce the interest rate. For example, we did an estimate for $320,000, which was looking at 10 cars, and the interest rate was, I think 2.83 or something. So the larger, if you have a project, and so I spoke with the gentleman, the president of the company, and his explanation is that if you need a road grader, we can include that in the same thing because the contract's actually not with the sheriff's office, it's with the board of supervisors in the county. What questions do you have?
Well, I have one now.
Sure.
So in other words, if any of us goes and buys a piece of equipment next year, we can include it in this same contract.
If you're anticipating buying a piece of equipment next year, I can include that in the same contract. Of course, that would be the job of the financial controller to be able to figure out what budget comes from what. But as far as for the county, if you know you need a road grader, a dump truck next year, then I know that I can include that into here, which would build the number up, but it would give you a low interest rate.
And that would be a lease, how
That
would that?
interest rate is not that much different than what we're paying now.
No, it would be kind of fixed, and you wouldn't have to go through the bid process for financing everything.
Well,
I would have to finance it.
My question would be, how does a government lease fall within the purchasing laws?
that was my question, how would that go in a reverse auction?
So
Or with that?
as far as, I think you're typically going in commercial leasing, correct? Is that how y'all are doing it? No? You're still doing the government? So they're guaranteeing you lower interest rates, no mileage restrictions, no cash due at signing. So with this particular one, we know that the budget is tight right now going into next year. So they've worked it out that when Jody receives the cars, they don't receive the payment until the next fiscal year, which could be the same for each of your purchases that you're doing as well. No buyouts, balloons, residuals, 3 terms, extended terms, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, non-appropriation of funds language. Something happens, we're broke, catastrophically something happens, we can't pay for it, they have it where they just take it back. And everything is titled to Newton County Sheriff's Office, titled to our agency. You would definitely want to see the contracts and stuff, Jason, way ahead of time, but as far as for currently,
Sounds too good to be true.
It is.
would you, if you would like a copy of all these things, I've known the man as far as working with him before. Everybody tends to shy away from leasing within the government side because they don't understand. I've leased a car and then I have 10,000 miles, everything, and you get a little scared. That's not the place here. So I can get any questions you guys want, or if you want to understand the project as far as something like that better, I can answer all those within a limited amount of time.
If I could, I think what we need to do is let Jason have that contract. Let him go through it, fine tooth comb on his deed. Because the purchase laws, if they don't do away with reverse auction, then I don't know how you would go 12 months into this contract.
I'll check the bid laws.
That's not giving you everything to you.
I mean, it sounds great.
It's a very good program for.
You said they do all the maintenance?
So that's gonna be depending on, it's based off your vehicle's maintenance plan. So if you buy the Dodge Durango,
No
which is
repair, just maintenance?
just normal maintenance, stuff like that as far as, now you can extend the warranties and such just like you can. We can include that in there. But literally anything that you need to purchase within the next year, if you're anticipating it, this would be a good time to build the program based on that if you're keen on it.
What other county do you know that's doing this?
Oktibbeha County was the one that did really well with it. When the new sheriff came in, and this is where I learned of these companies, is that I think, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but he bought 30, quite a large county, and he leased significantly more. But he just went in and it seemed to be successful for them. He was happy with it. If you want to do some research, speak with some of those supervisors as well, see how it worked out. Absolutely. That would have been in 2000, had been 11 when I worked up there. I think he's still the sheriff. Been out of the country for 6 months.
So you worked for October?
I worked for the drug courts up there, yes.
Okay.
He had somebody call him, and he's outside the door.
Okay.
I was just asking Steve how many cars he needed. Steve said he needs 11.
But not all new ones, but that's how many deputies he got to meet the bar.
Well, in our rotation that we've been doing, couldn't have nothing, shouldn't anything be over 5 years old out there now, should it?
I don't think there may be one or two.
Yeah, that pickup, I think it's gonna be 5 or over, maybe one Fred drives, it's gonna be 5 or over.
I'd have to see where we're gonna gain, where we're gonna gain, how we're gonna gain, you know, other than just fix the problem that he might want 5 new cars, or need 5 new cars. I don't see how you gonna gain.
And you might not answer this, the part-time deputies, are they coming to the sheriff's office to get a car, or do they have cars? See, if they all, part of them have cars, that's where you're gonna come in.
I think they're coming to the sheriff's office. I think that's what they're doing. I don't need to ask him, but I think that's what they're doing.
I'm just thinking that may be where some of the
Full
shortage is
time
coming in.
keeping their car so they don't have use for that car. I think that's how it works. We need to verify that with him.
Let's ask him.
Done with me for now?
I mean, we'll just sit here and just wait on Joe to take care of the bid. You on the agenda for 10:45,
Right.
so let's transition into,
Let me grab my stuff for each of you.
What is this about? 10:45.
Bring it up.
So there's been some discussion about, obviously grant special projects within the county. And my background, I have a master's in strategic communication and public policy. I'm working on my second master's in human resource management, which is irrelevant to this right now. But as far as for this, I have went to Jody and I was talking with him about pending grants that we can do. One of them that I've worked on is a VOCA program, which is Victim Assistance Coordinator. And with that, it is a $113,000 grant, which is obviously a grant, we're at 25%. Before we get into some of the details of it, some of it that I'll want to do explain to you in closed section, because you'll be talking personnel and salaries and such as that, if that's futuristic talk once we get toward the end. But this kind of topic of discussion has been, because I proposed, Jody, I've been a certified law enforcement officer for 10 years, written grants, I've managed budgets of about $6 million plus, and try to find solutions to problems you may have. For example, leasing here, this is an immediate fix to a long-term problem there. My background there is on page 2. We'll get into page 3. So what I've done is that there's been discussion about how can you make a grants program for the county for someone that would work for the county. The role that I created was a special projects administrator for you guys to consider. I've given you a job description there, responsibilities, right, procure grant funding for various special projects throughout Newton County. That affects every one of you. So Where you may not think of it is that there are road grants out there. And we'll get further into that in just a few minutes. But work with agencies' heads to ensure grant funding is managed, maintained, and in line with grant requirements. One of the biggest problems with people when they actually get a grant is maintaining the grant, because it takes somebody that's constantly auditing the process, that's turning in the process, making sure people understand what they need. Research and study, impact, effect of various project designs. That will be specifically more tailored to what you guys. So when you start looking at the NTSB's requirement for National Traffic and Safety Board, if you're looking at governing factors for building or fixing roads, it takes research and study. That may be where Jody comes in and says, okay, how many fatalities have we had on Newton County Road? Or how many of this have we had here? And so we can say that we see, identify a problem, and we can apply for grant funding as to how much it would fix it. Prepare research studies, documentation for department needs, county officials, and board of supervisors. So this would be for you guys, that I would prepare the documents that would show that we, for the grant funding or special project, such as maybe these type of things, where we're trying to research and find solutions to getting that new road grader or so forth. Build and strengthen relationships with community leaders, government entities, or elected officials to ensure projects met with little to no resistance. The next page is going to be about grant writing. That's more for your understanding there. Sometimes we don't always understand what is entailed. The 2 grants I wrote this weekend, over the course of the weekend for, and assuming everything's going to go well with you guys and you want to proceed with it, took about 40-45 hours, and they're very small, very, very small grants. And when I say very small, we're talking about $113,000 and $98,000. But in those 2 grants, we're talking about two jobs created for the county. One of the positions is a stop investigator. So that's a, basically it's a family services person that's going to assume all responsibilities for family services violence, which we know that predominantly our crimes committed within the county are going to be family services, whether it's date rape or date related or even domestic and so forth. So this person would assume that, which would free up other investigators. His or her salary would be fully covered with the exception of the 25% match portion. I do have a plan to offset that from the county's expenditures where it's not that much. Again, because this is all proposal, I can't really mention that where we're going to be live feed on the, I'd rather be able to speak with the contingent agencies as well before we get there. So with that one, that's a $98,000, includes a salary, fully, very, very vested investigator, and then as well, a VOCA coordinator, that's a $113,000 grant, which would also be in the same situation as the other, and we'd be looking at a vehicle included in that $113,000. I have the details of those grants as well. I didn't make you all copies of this. This was more for my reference. The STOP stands for Services, Training, and Officers Formula Grant Program. So that means that we can create this program, we can hire or keep our retain our deputy that's there, or we can take the salary, the amount of money that we spend in there, and we can put that somewhere else because we have a grant that's funding that role. All right. Coming up next month in March, assuming that we continue on with this this type of work, we'll be talking about a COPS grant, and that's a big one as well. And I'll tell you more about that in just a second. For some reason, there's a page that didn't print there on mine. There it is. So opportunities for you guys, just in that short amount of time, research grants pertaining to what could affect each of your areas within the county. Solid waste, there are just right now, just in a quick research, there's solid waste assistance grants, solid waste planning grants, groundwater improvement and recycling grant programs. Those can all be going towards the landfill and fixing the different things that maybe you know. Again, I'm not privy to the problems you all have or within your districts and where the funding is needed. So I'm kind of speculating just as a person looking at from the outside looking in. And you're talking about grants for your roads. There's where we have the build transportation grants. They're going to take time. They would take significant research on my part, figuring out what needs. If you said this road needs massive repair, we've got a bridge project I can look into to see if the build project would cover that. And those are the things that, again, I can't anticipate because I'm not employed by you all at this time. Sheriff's Office is going to be where my expertise lies as far as in law enforcement and emergency management. Pertaining to Sheriff, the first one is the VOCA. That's a created position that we spoke about. The STOP is a special training investigator. In fact, even when I was listening to Justice Court and speaking about the grant, the funding there, that would be even something, assuming we receive that, I could pay for that through the STOP grant. Because By justification, we've issued a warrant for a domestic violence person. We say, hey, we need this licensing to be able to get that warrant because he's ran, right? So I can justify it on paper to cover this licensing for EMA. So it's an interworking balance there. Cops, which we mentioned that one just a second ago. What that's going to do is going to augment 2 salaries for 3 years. So that grant will be written at $110,000 because it's based on the salaries and so forth. They may deny 2 and may only allot for 1. But the way we write it is we write it for 2. But the intention is to fulfill 2 salaries in that sense. Homeland Security grants are massive and affect EMA, Sheriff's Office, and so forth. JAG, and as I noted, there are many, many, many more for public service areas. Justice Court, I know that there's not a lot of grants for courts. It's augmented, but there is the possibility of creating a position there with drug courts within the Justice Court realm, in which we throw significant amount of money in that area, and we could figure out how we would need to do that. Again, it would take research. Emergency management, I mentioned that, and other grants here. And what I meant, USDA covers a lot of stuff, and right now that's one of those areas that we could say, because we're a rural area, we can justify asking for grant money to fund the various different things. So here's the part where we'd be talking about if you hire a grant writer, and for me, do you want to? Is this be one of those times that you should go into that session or something?
Not an executive session, talking about grants, that's not a,
We're talking about if you hired
that's still not, it's not dealing with personnel, not in direct. Is it, Jason, am I wrong?
I'm with that. So, if you were gonna hire him as an employee, it would be.
Yeah, but, we're not there yet.
That's what I would, where I'm getting into is in that portion of it, is explaining the hiring portion of it.
Okay, so,
Well, could I make a suggestion? Why don't you let us table this, because we will probably have an executive session.
yeah.
Are you saying today? Okay, because I was going to say, we have the grants that I've written for the sheriff's office.
We don't know a thing about it.
I know, they're due at 11:59 tonight, and so,
We don't know a thing about it.
all right. So do you want to table this section, this portion?
Yes, and you hang around, when we finish our other business, we gonna get into executive session on some other issues,
Okay,
and you can be included in that.
perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Mike?
Good morning.
Hey there, good morning.
Morning.
Everybody, this is Dave Myers from Valdez.
Hey, good morning.
It's the one with the online tax aid.
Seven
Do a
folders.
presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
I mean, I hope you get your presentation.
Not bad.
I'm way behind.
Hallelujah.
I had to step up a little.
Sure, go ahead, I can read.
This is our change request, Ms. George Hayden.
Okay.
This is B2 Supervisor Joe Alexander. B3 Charles Nolan. B1 Kenny Harris, who is president of the board right now.
Yes, sir.
B5 Jackie Johnson. And B4, Charles Goff.
Watch out.
And this is our county administrator, Steve Seaman.
Gotcha.
And he's absent, but that's Jason Mangum, our county attorney.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and for the opportunity. My name is David Myers, and I'm with GovEase. GovEase is based in Madison County.
I can't hear you, my man.
I'm sorry, no, my bad. I was just saying, my name is David Myers, and with GovEase, we're based in Madison County.
Okay.
We started in 2016, and we do online tax auction software. In your folders there, you're going to see a list of the counties that we're currently working with. We represent now right over 60 of the 82 counties. Just this week, yesterday, we were approved in Pearl River County, and on Tuesday, we were approved in Montgomery County and Jefferson Davis County. So these numbers are added. I mean, we're on track to be in about 74 to 76 counties by the end of this year. So we take something that's been done on the courthouse steps for the last 100+ years and we flip it on its head. And we take a wholesale when it's cried out by Ms. Bender on the courthouse steps or wherever it takes place, and we take the whole process and we put it online. And so if you can think eBay for online auctions and whatnot, but we've been successful for a number of reasons. We have built, the first thing that we do if given the opportunity is that we reach out to all local bidders. If we have any pushback on anything, I'm just being very upfront, it's going to be about local bidders. What happens to my local bidders? And making sure that they're still involved in the process. We now have over 6,000 registered Mississippi bidders, and we've done that by reaching out to local bidders. So we get the list that Ms. Bender has, and that conversation is something, Mr. Myers, we realize that you bid in previous auctions. If given the opportunity, the county's going online, we want to make sure you have an opportunity to bid in the upcoming online auctions. Let's get you registered, let's get you trained. Place a big amount of importance, it's very important to get these folks trained. And so not only do we run webinars and online trainings, but we actually have, at a time and date of Ms. Bender's choosing, we come here to Newton County and say, hey, and we'll reach out to all the bidders and say, Govies will be here from 9 to 4 o'clock for anybody, come one, come all, to train local bidders. But gentlemen, if everything that you're looking at in your books here is that when we come here, and I think we've built a pretty good mousetrap, honestly, and what I mean by that is Ms. Bender's run a very efficient auction. Now, I don't have your 2019 sale numbers, but I do have your 2018 sale numbers, and it really comes down to overbid. And while they've run a really efficient auction in Newton County, we're simply able to cast a wider net because people from other counties are able to bid in your auction. More eyeballs and more bidders means bidder participation, means more overbid, which means more money for the general fund. And so what you're looking at, like in 2018, you had about a 5.5% overbid rate. Our average customer is doing about a 12% overbid rate. And so naturally, if we got to that number, we're making making significantly over $20,000 extra for the county. That's not a new tax, that's not something new, that's just now a new revenue source for the county. We come at no cost to the county. By statute, you're not allowed to pay for us out of the county's general fund or budget, what have you. We are paid out of the excess bid. So we make 1.25% of Ms. Bender's total sale. So in essence, we pay for each other, pay for ourselves, but in the end, we also generate more revenue for the county. Our contract, and I'm not sure if your attorney, I think I send it ahead of time, reads one auction and one auction only. And if you don't like it, we're certainly not going to make you beholden to something you don't want to be a part of. You can back out at any time. But if you look on our reference list, we haven't lost a customer yet. And then lastly, are you with Data or Delta?
Delta.
Delta. We are completely integrated with Delta or Data. We're completely integrated with them. So at the end of the sale, when you bring 1,000 parcels to a sale, someone has to key all of that information in. That parcel number, name and address and everything. And then they also have to key in the right amount. You can imagine there's potential for human error and putting the decimal place in the wrong place or a zero or leaving off a zero. That goes away because now since we're integrated with them, it's a mouse click. So from an efficiency standpoint and a resource standpoint, no one is having to key all that information in. When Ms. Bender signs off on the sale and says it's over and it's finished, and I'm good with the numbers, it's a mouse click and all that information uploads to Delta computers. Gentlemen, that's kind of the high level of what we do, and you may or may not have heard about it through other counties or whatnot, but I welcome the opportunity to answer any questions or address concerns, and yeah.
I got one question.
Yes, sir.
What you think about it? What's the downside? He gave us the upside.
Well, my only thing about that is like you said, he talked about the local bidders and also being able to, I don't know if you've had a choice to where your property or somebody you know of property went to the sale. You know, we're here now where we can say, okay, well, hey, I'm gonna get this person to call you, they're checking on this piece of property that you gained at tax sale, you know, and I'm not, the personal part is the only thing that, where I'm standing. And I guess I explained that good enough to everybody understand what I'm saying about this piece of property, you know, about the
It
land.
would actually would take work off of you though, right? Would it, or would it?
Yeah, it would take work off me.
Okay.
Yeah, but Charles, if your cousin had a piece of family property out there, that now the family members might be able to go up there and redeem it before the sale, you won't be able to do that anymore, it's gone.
So you still don't have a timeline to come
You
back?
you got your period, you know, your
Yeah.
3-year redemption period. I mean, that's automatic, that's statute, so that doesn't change, regardless of how it's handled. And that's done through chancery, Steve.
Now, you're doing this in one day now.
Yes.
The bidding process, would that be a one-day occurrence as is
How
now?
many properties do you know?
Anywhere from 950 to 1125, maybe.
We on average are able to get through about 900 parcels in a day. And then by statute, we would start, anything that's left over, we'd start over the next morning. Further, we can take it a step further. Let's say that out of those 1,100 properties, 25 aren't sold, or 40 aren't sold, and those would be normally struck to the state. We can remove all the properties that are sold, we reach out to all the bidders again and say, hey, we have additional 40 properties, you know, and run those through the auction again. We've decreased numbers struck to the state, or properties struck to the state, by 78%. It's a number we're pretty proud of, but you bring up a good point. I mean, if we have I've told you all the highlights of it. If we have any pushback, or the only pushback we ever have is going to be, one, what happens to my local bidders, and then two, from local bidders themselves, in the sense that, simply put, they don't have as much competition, and they don't have as much competition, but from the county perspective, more competition does mean more dollars for the general fund. It means more overbid. So there is that. Now, I can tell you, a number of our collectors, whether it's within the statute or not within the statute, for instance, up in Alcorn County, the tax collector there said, well, you know, before my normal sale, I have 30 or so folks that are in that position that you just mentioned, family, airship properties, contiguous land, what have you, something special. Even though they've had that 3-year period or a whole year to come in and pay, and then he said, a lot of times I'll let them line up ahead of time. And I'll ask all the folks, please don't bid on this, these are one-off properties. That's not technically how you're supposed to do it, but it can be done. All that to be said is, this is Newton County sale, this is Ms. Bender's sale. Whether it's 16 section land or family land, we give every collector the opportunity to exclude properties. You know, if there's something squirrely about a property, or you can exclude properties from our sale, so it never goes to our sale, and anything can be settled with Ms. Bender in her office. So, anyway, I'm just pointing out that how some collectors do their sale.
One more, go ahead, John.
This is the only question I have.
Yes, sir.
When we have a tax sale now, and let's say I purchase a piece of property through the tax sale, and the landowner comes back, and they have to pay me a 10% on top of what I pay, right? For that.
Half a month.
It's 1.5% per month.
Okay.
18%.
Up to 18,
Alright.
yeah.
But if because of local people doing the business, if I can buy it out for 4,000, or it goes to an auction and it goes for 8,000, then that 1.5% is gonna cost that land, that's my only thing. I mean, I agree, everybody will pay their taxes, but
No, the law says they don't have to do that overbid. You don't pay the overbid back. You only pay the
real
tax
property.
rate as it's sold and the percentage of where you are at redemption time,
Okay.
plus
18%.
fees.
That's my only thing. I want everybody to pay the taxes, but I just don't wanna keep
Yeah, I
hammering somebody.
It just keeps getting higher and
There's
higher, is what
no-
you're saying.
Right.
Whether we do your sale or don't do your sale, the taxpayer pays the exact same. It's just a matter of we're coming in and taking that auction off the county's hands and earning more revenue for you. That's it.
That's my only question.
Yes, sir.
My next question, with the new law, with garbage fees being added to the tax sale, what would that affect?
Well, see, garbage fees are not added to the tax sale.
I mean, they're added to the due taxes.
Well, we do, but we're doing them a different way. We don't add them in anymore because of that, the late fees. You know, we had a problem with
Okay, so they
the penalties being built up on.
Okay,
So we removed them and we're doing them a different, we're still collecting them.
Yeah,
We're just
but-
not collecting them the way we were
okay,
because it was making it was too much.
yeah,
They already were behind and we were stuck lumping it on and that's not fair. To some, only to the ones that had land. To the ones that didn't have any land, they wasn't getting any late fees. That's not fair. So, you know, we removed it and do it in a separate way.
Kenny, if I may, what would be the average of your tax sales the last 5 years, average dollar?
Dollar amount, about 385, 340, somewhere in there. With about 15, 16 over bid.
So
Like,
that
would you,
you're,
excuse me,
go ahead, Tom.
I've been at it a long time, but would you guess you had more than 10% locals that were even buying? We've got a pile of outside people that buy. It's not just locals that buy.
maybe I'm miscalculating, but by paying that fee, would that not basically eat up the overbid?
No, sir, if you look in your thing, in your folder there, right now you are at about a 5, well, in 2018, if we had done your sale in 2018, again, our average customer, our customer is doing between 12 and 14%. So I estimated on the low end. So you see a 12% overbid rate. In 2018, we did 5.4% overbid rate. That was just under $20,000. If you were at 12%, it would have been at $43,000. So a difference of $24,000. If your average sale is $385,000, then 1.25% would be right at $4,000. So that would be a net of $20,000 extra. So again, gentlemen, at no point would you ever come up out of pocket for us. In fact, and if you did, if that statistically it won't happen, but if it did, we give it to you for free. In fact, we do it. We do a sale. We do a sale every year, and we do 2 sales in Coahoma County. They have 2 tax sales. They do a spring sale. Yep, they do partial payments. Ms. Hattie Shivers, well, now the new lady. Their spring sale is their big sale. They have an kind of overflow sale in the fall, and they bring about 50 properties. They do no overbid. We do that sale. We do it for them for free because that's just the cost of doing business. If you ever had to come out of pocket for us, we would not do it. We wouldn't charge. And so, again, that's why we go back to our contract for each one auction. We say, give us one chance, and if you don't like it, then we will walk away, no harm, no foul. But we've never had anybody walk away.
Did it? Must be something good about it if you had that many people.
Well, it's
From 4 years?
yes, sir, since 2016, and this year we're on track to add about 18 more counties.
I do have one more thing. Ms. May, if you were sitting on this side of the table, knowing your side of it, could you raise your hand to let them do the auction? I know it's putting you on the spot, but it'll help me.
And like I said, when he asked the question, that's the only concern I have. I mean, holding the sale is not a biggie for me. I mean, no, I don't like it. I don't like selling anybody's nothing. You know, no, that's not something I want to do. I know it's part of the job that we have to do. So if I see the opportunity to help somebody get out of this, then yes, that's what we do.
Well, can't you still do that before you hand it over to him?
If I know it. But there are some when I'm in midstream and I'm like, no.
But he
Or I
said-
can think of something that maybe in January when we had 99 people and then this customer came in and he said, well, I should have filed for homestead on this piece of property and I should have been exempt. Well, they got past me. But something in reading that name is like, I can't, I got to check that one before I can. You see what I'm talking about?
He
And this
said
happens with
they were
anybody.
Relationships.
Well, my thought is, if you got August 30th as a sale date,
Mhm.
and you got, sometimes you have 40 concerned citizens, kin folks, whatever, you can't sell it beforehand, because the sale was advertised for the 30th. He's gonna do his auction on the 30th. How are you gonna do that before you give it to him? And then what happens when he does the sale as far as coming back to Chancery Court for
No,
collection?
he said a minute ago, he would strike that name from the sale.
He said if it's last minute, how can you?
Well, no, even if the sale starts, we have folks coming in, I mean, most of our, it's actually split. Half our collectors say, hey, the sale's on Monday, third Monday in August, Friday by 5 o'clock. You have till Friday at 5 o'clock. You've had all year long, pay by Friday because it's going to sale on Monday. We have, the other half says, I'm gonna take payments all the way up until the sale starts. And if that's the case, it's a phone call. It is and we can, I mean, it's a mouse click, phone call and a mouse click to remove someone, hey, this person came in and paid. More than enough. Worst case scenario is, let's say, even after the sale starts, we can remove things. We can strike it. And worst case scenario is, I sold someone's property, Ms. May let them come in and pay, then all we do is we notify that bidder and say, sorry, you didn't win parcel ABC, and void that from the sale. So, again, we can remove it at any time. It's not, that's a non-issue. We can do that at any time. It's just a phone call.
My next question.
Yes, sir.
What liability will that office have if you do it?
That's one place where we shine, is we take the liability off the office, because now we take the entire sale home, and we take the liability off the thing. I mean, there's probably no quicker way to get sued than have a tax sale. I'm not trying to be funny,
But I know.
but that's, knock on wood, we haven't been sued, we haven't been involved in any any litigation ever. I mean, my intent here is not to come in and say we can do things better. We just do things a little bit differently, and in the process, we can make things a little bit more efficient, and we do certainly take liability off. I mean, and we operate right within the statute, so there's within the letter of the law. We do a lot of things well. I'm not saying we're a silver bullet that solves all the issues, because there is. There is a human element involved, that relationships, and, if there's one thing that could potentially suffer there, I guess that would be it. So,
Okay. We're not going to make a decision on this today.
Okay.
It's something that I'm sure the board would like to talk about, and tax assessor would like to talk about. So, what else do you have for us, May?
I got some changes for you if you
Okay.
want me to do those now.
Yes.
Okay.
Man,
I vote
You probably want to go move my stuff. This is the same old same one, except for the two that's highlighted. You see the two that's highlighted? This Tamara Kennedy. You can read the note. Usually when a person tells us that they want their homestead deleted, we've gotten to the point, we done got caught in this situation so many times. They'll call because they think they got a sale on the house and they gonna sign somewhere else. We delete it, and then they come back, well, it didn't sell, so they want the homestead back. So we've started implementing that they sign a form stating that I want this homestead deleted. Well, on this case right here, she called, but she never came in and signed for it. I don't have anything to back me up. So
and they
now
still
they,
hadn't voted.
and they want, that's exactly right, I think that's what was going on, more so than anything, but that's neither here nor there.
Yep. So
Now they're wanting the homestead back.
that's pretty much like, I get a phone call, put a cover in, I'm ready to build a house. 10 years later, that cover's still sitting there
And
and
no
no
house.
action on it.
That's kind of where I'm at on that one. And then the bottom one, this is just for notification. There is a rule, a statute that says once a piece of property is bought by a nonprofit organization, it becomes exempt. First Baptist, I think,
I think that date is correct.
no, that's not when you bought it, but that's probably when the deed was recorded. Okay, that's what that's on there for, that's when the deed was recorded. They inherited this house in 2018, December of 18 actually. The deed was just recorded. So we're just wanting to you know, put on the minutes about the taxes for that piece of property.
Would you recommend they give it, cause
I
2
do.
months of reading, 2 months of adjusting would be little or nothing, so
Nothing.
they might as well give it the whole one.
That's what I'm requesting.
Could we get a motion to accept these recommendations on the tax assessor?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Okay. What else you got for us, Mike?
That's all I got right now.
One of the eggs is, that lady still alive?
No, but you know that she was the one that we took home together with that time. And we couldn't figure out what was wrong, and they kept saying she wasn't living. Well, she was scared somebody was gonna Social Security number, so she had wrote it backwards. And that's how she was giving it out, backwards. And when we would put it in there, they would reject it. And, you know, when she came in, you know, it was said, the state says that you're not a living person. She said, well, I look mighty good to be dead. But yes, she did pass away, like last year, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what happened. Her daughter finally called me and straightened it out. She said, no, mama has turned that Social Security on around. That's what's wrong with it. But anyway, so, but she said she was just afraid somebody was gonna steal her purse or something, and it was gonna be in there, so when she wrote it down, she turned it around.
I knew, when I seen that name, I thought that.
Yeah, she did.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Hey,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Ms. Pam,
Go ahead.
yeah.
I'm just waiting to get the copy.
How are you?
Works so good. We can't like build an arc out there.
Have you got the gates open?
It's up above.
Ryan just walked all the way.
I tell you what, Ryan just saturated, and there's nowhere to run off.
Since, you know, it started raining, what, about 5 o'clock yesterday?
Yeah. I guess it
When we
rained.
checked it at 6:30 this morning, it was 2.81 inches.
What did the weatherman say yesterday?
And they put some chicken wire over that gate, keep them fish from going out.
That's the biggest deal there.
Over 50 days, 53
It's right.
days.
Put us the net down there, we had a little bit of problem.
Was good.
There'll be some fishers down below the road.
Now, they call you from East Central. I had turned y'all in, they had a volunteer program to do some work, and I thought it wasn't to call you, you might have plenty of them to do something, you never call you around.
If you wanna write my cell phone number down, she can call my cell phone.
I need to put it in mine, I called Cindy, I used her phone number, but I didn't need
Yeah,
it.
my work cell number, the one I always have is 601-402-8427.
I thought she had called, I'm sorry.
Now,
I thought about you, I said, well, they got plenty of building department, a bunch of painters.
yeah. I got a couple that really needs it, but I mean, we can't paint it around.
I'll put a bug in here, but I think it's probably.
Sure, that would be awesome.
Okay, Ms. Pam, what do you think?
I'm only gonna take a few minutes of your time, and the saying that if you don't ask, the answer is always no. You know, the roads around here are really bad at trash. So we have started like once a week, once every 2 weeks, on both sides of the road, from the top of the hill when you come down the length of our property, to pick up trash. The first day we did it, we picked up 9 big bags of trash.
I saw you out there.
And every day, I mean, like the day I get Ricky, he said somebody wants a big sign out there. But just, you know that house right across the street from where I still live, that block house, everything's painted, and I think we look, there's like 2 or 3 people that own land across the street. Is there anything that can be done about that house? I mean, I know it's somebody's property, but it's an eyesore.
when we were out there cleaning up, we peeked in the front door, the ceiling's all caved in, it's just, and I've had campers, first time there, they'll come in, whose house is that across the street? It's just, it looks bad, I don't know, and then where that house is, kind of right before you get to it, there's a white frame house that looks like it's about to cave in too. But it just looks ugly out front of our park. I don't know that anything can be done, I don't know who owns the land, but,
That lady that just left, she can pretty much direct you to who owns it. Or between it and George.
Yeah,
But is there anything we can legally do better?
Not unless they let us.
We don't have any building codes, no zoning ordinances.
so like this, you know, I didn't know. I've had people say, yeah, there's something back there, and then people say, no, there's nothing that can be done, but I said, well, like I said, if you don't ask, the answer's no.
Is it, if you're wrong, but then you're right back to the cave there.
Now, on the south end of that road, where across where the box is at, where the water go under the road, you ought to look up on the neighbors. I mean, it's no trash, it's something that gonna have to be done because, it's.
Yeah, which one is it?
What is it? Box? Need cleaning?
No, it's just not, probably about 6
Like
feet.
right here.
The one you're trying to get
Yeah, it's,
at her.
yeah, it's right kind of across where our cabin rate starts to come. It's right there.
Yeah, what you just made. Ellen Map Reese Estate.
Element.
Is that, is she the one that lives on this end of Mount Road?
Well, it says estate, so
It's a state, I mean, it's a family property. And they probably don't care about you tearing it down, they'd probably be glad to see it go, but, I just know the county can't do it.
Right.
So I can get somebody's information and call them. And I don't know if
I would go down and talk to May, and May can give you whoever the address and the person that the tax bill's going to. That's probably gonna be your best bet.
do you think we need to look into that little bit?
That's something that we're gonna have to do, I think that's gonna fall on my responsibility.
Do you know the grounds that there's on this road at the corner where you turn to go to landfill?
I know of it.
I think they may lease that property or something.
Okay.
Might be a resource for you as far as information.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Well, and I know I haven't talked to you since last year. I thank you for your support last year. We're going to begin this year, of course, July 3rd. And it's going to be on a Saturday, so we might have even more than 600 cars this year. It's growing every year. But, and two, just FYI, we have received our 2 bunk houses. We're finishing out that. If the rain never stops, we'll get our cowboy campground. It's ready for dirt work. We've got the water, the sewer, and electricity run to each side, there's 8 sides back there.
I haven't been out there to walk around those hills, wow.
You would probably slide down the hills right now.
Pretty sure I will.
We can understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I had 3 people come Saturday and ride the horse trail. I said, good luck. But it was a lady that was familiar with it. She cut back and forth between the 2 trails because I know that lower trail's underwater or something like that. Those falls, but anyway. But I thank you for your time. Thank you for this
Yes, ma'am.
information. I'll go down there and talk to her.
Good to see you.
Anyway, good to see y'all. Y'all right here.
your code.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Michael, this garbage bill,
Now,
how's that?
there is nothing to do on that. He works offshore 6 months and here 6 months and he wanting you to delete 6 months of his bill.
You just make it 12 months worth of wages, something like that.
Hmm?
I said, you make 12 months worth of wages, one day.
City of License, big job, okay. I guess we'll go to you, Steve.
Okay. One thing that's not on the list I gave you, MAS said they are forming a steering committee for the insurance trust fund. And they would like you all to appoint one supervisor to serve as the massive committee member. And you can pick which committee you'd like to be on. They have an investment committee, a member services committee, a reinsurance committee, a risk management committee, and an underwriting committee.
Which one you want to be
That's
on,
up
Jack?
your alley,
Which one you want to be on, buddy?
That's what I'm thinking.
Instead of motion.
That wouldn't be in my motion.
Second.
What was your motion? You.
No, yeah,
Charles
so-
Godwin?
No, Charles,
Charles Collins.
You slipped out in.
you an insurance
You
man.
slipped right in on that.
I just think that's how
Second.
your expertise.
All in favor?
Which committee would you like to be on?
You talking about a railroad job.
Well,
Risk assessment, isn't that your forte?
that's kind of what I was saying.
They're not gonna like somebody that knows what they're talking about in there.
There's no way he could be risk assessment, he is a risk.
Thank you. Just check.
Yes. I need you all to approve a special docket. It's to Pitney Bowes. This is to pay off the postage machine we've got. It's $2,229.39. Y'all approved leasing the new machine from MCC, Mississippi. They agreed to pay $1,879.80 on the remaining lease.
Steve, while you're doing that, there's another one that we didn't get on here. Harold's on for a special docket to approve painting that bathroom down there. He needed the,
Harold Holloway,
yeah, 15,000.
you wanna add that on that one?
Well, I did, but I don't know what Steve wants, if you want it separate.
No, that's fine, but
$15,215. Stephanie had it and just forgot to get it to us on.
did you give it to Deborah?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Should have stuck around on that deal. But I can wait.
All right, the sheriff has asked that a '09 Charger, asset number 22150, and a '14 Charger, asset number 21182, be declared surplus. He wants to put them in the Dinko auction, and then we've already taken care of all the other stuff there that I've got listed.
Since we've done that motion earlier, we need, for Brian, since you got it together,
Well,
I guess we keep it together there.
Well, his was scrapped and it's gonna be put in an auction.
So,
I got a question on that, as an inventory clerks and all, is that, they're still on inventory, then they're not being used?
He said one of them, the engine's blown, and the other one, I can't remember what he said was wrong with it.
one of them, correct, I believe.
Yeah, but they're out there, so as long as they're out there, they're on inventory.
Yes.
Okay. Have y'all seen, y'all said they,
I had, we say Tom.
Second to that motion.
All in favor?
I need a motion to appoint Alyssa Middleton as requisition clerk for 911.
so moved.
All in favor?
She's getting popular.
Y'all's annual maintenance inspection for state aid roads is scheduled for March 4th and 5th. I put a copy of last year's inspection in each other's mailbox. That's different than the dates that Dwayne gave you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they done done jobs.
Have-
What? State aid inspection?
Yeah, yeah, when they went rank, it was, how did those do?
I didn't know either, Dwayne called me a day later, said, well, there's.
I thought we was all supposed to ride. What happened to that?
He said something about that, we wasn't all right.
He called, he told me, what he told me is Butch had called him and he had some extra hours and he wanted to know who had the most miles and biggest feet, and he said, I did, and he said, well, let's ride it and get it out of the way. Dwayne called me. Looking forward to
Going
last.
up around Coney
ride me too.
Right, I know you like to go up there.
Yeah. Right up bad, John.
Huh?
It's so wet you can't do nothing.
And I've been cleaning out, box cover, stuff like that, but he told me that I didn't have to ride unless I wanted to, so I don't guess I'll miss the ride, whenever it is, I'll probably come in and ride. But they done mine. He said that the bush just had some time, it needs to burn.
That's Wednesday and Thursday, I think.
I guess it's probably planned.
DUI, what officer?
So if he's already ridden Charles's, we'll be able to do this in one day.
Yeah.
4 or 5, yeah, that's a
You don't think so?
No, get down there and meet before you stay turned around all day trying to get stuff. Well, I don't ride it.
It's gonna be so much to see in big 5, I'll be a day.
We'll be sure of everything. Right.
Jody has asked that y'all approve applying for a DUI officer grant.
Is that gonna be one of the grants?
That's not one of the ones he was talking about.
Steve, didn't we, don't,
We had that for about 2 years ago.
we've had it, hadn't we?
We've had it, yeah, several years in a row, but it was not being taken care of like it's supposed to.
Okay. Is he gonna, I guess he's gonna take care of it, huh? He knows
He knows why we lost it.
why they got it. So move.
Hey,
All in favor?
All right, several years ago, we were forced to hire a Choctaw language coordinator. We're in with 6 other counties, so at least 6 other counties. Kemper County has notified the Secretary of State that they are pulling out of the interlocal agreement. They're gonna hire their own employee for this position. And just letting y'all know that.
Seems like the Neshoba did too.
I don't know.
Because I
What?
think the Neshoba did the same thing, but, I'll contact the AG's office up there and see what's going on.
Judge Duncan has requested changes in salaries for the court staff. Nicole Bryan will now be the court administrator, making $61,400 a year. Janice Watts will now be deputy court administrator, making $58,300 a year. Changes take effect February the 1st, and the 4 counties in the district will split the cost equally.
But Steve, don't they use part of their state money to
They
fund part
do.
of that?
It'll be whatever
Is left?
is
I
left.
think they just swapped.
Yeah, they did.
Since Judge Duncan became senior judge,
Yeah.
his administrator became senior administrator.
I need a motion approving Scott and Cindy to travel to Gulfport on 14th and 16th of April for a solid waste and recycling conference.
No, we need a motion. Did we do a motion for the judge?
You don't have to. It's
Okay.
an order.
That's an order.
Hey, well, we're gonna do that, April 14th.
It's-
Do what?
This is for their certifications. You're gonna need them.
and then if we need to send somebody else, we
You
can
can
add them to,
You can change it or whatever.
I'm gonna ask something, I don't know. Could that not, could Robbie not be, sent to that school?
Yeah,
I
anybody
guess we
can
can
go.
send anybody we want.
are you saying just have a redundant certificate? I mean, is that what you're looking at?
Evidently, we got to have somebody, right?
Gotta have somebody certified.
Huh?
Gotta have somebody certified to have a landfill or a roadside in your county.
Right. Not trying to give you any more jobs, Robbie, but it would be kind of in the realm of some of the things that he'd be doing. Just a thought,
It's not bad.
we gotta have somebody that's gonna be certified. We know we got, possibly landfill change up, there's gonna be some changes.
We could still be certified though, and,
Huh?
I mean, you would still have a certification whether he's out there or not, right?
If you work for the county.
Well,
But if he steps down after a year,
yeah.
then you could lose that certification. This man's gonna be with us from now on, he said.
Does one class certify?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Why don't we find out about this before we add someone else? Wouldn't that be,
Well, that's,
it's where that one class will do it or not?
we can do this one, and if we can add somebody, then that's something we look at.
It didn't say where it come, have we paid for it, Steve?
I would might say he don't.
Yes.
I'm game for whatever.
Amen, thank you.
$250.
I imagine $250 you can send as many as you want.
Jackie, you wanna go? Y'all make that motion.
If we're gonna send these two, that's fine with that.
I make a motion, we, send Cindy and Scott to the conference.
All in favor? Jack, yeah, second.
Okay.
Dan Lucas has submitted his resignation from the East Central Community College Board of Trustees. Dr. Stewart has asked that an appointment be made to fill the remainder of his term, which is February the 17th, 2020 through August the 15th, 2022.
So he's already got it.
Yeah, I've got his
Yeah.
resignation letter. George, did I give it to you?
He's living in Oxford.
Oxford,
Yeah.
K is right.
And he informed me that several months ago, so,
Oh,
and I'll make a motion to accept that. And I've got it in the works on a replacement.
You pass that to George.
I'll second it then, that you,
All in favor?
As far as recognition, we voting on this resigning.
Accepting his resignation.
Okay.
And when
I'll
Jackie,
vote with you.
and I think when Jackie gets somebody, we'll have to,
Point.
The DEQ grant, the non-competitive one, 19,101, it's due by April 30th. Do you all want to use this toward a solid waste officer, or you want to think on it some more?
do you have to specify what it's for before you apply?
Yeah, you gotta specify in your application.
We've got some talking to do.
Okay, I'm just gonna put that aside.
If you declare it, what you gonna do for it? Is there any way to change it?
Uh,
Probably not.
I don't know. It's probably a lot of red tape to go through.
Okay, that's fine.
Probably can, but weren't we talking about using one we already have for the Amnesty Day?
It was applied for Amnesty Day.
I get confused in these grants.
And this is a non-competitive, so pretty much all you have to do is apply for it.
Right. We just gotta tell them what we're gonna use it.
Yeah.
Put it, go for it.
We've got a little while for y'all to think on it. Upcoming meetings, February the 26th at 2:30, Arts and Humanities Month celebration at East Central Community College. Jeffrey Hodge presents forms and narratives in art at the Old Vickers Fine Arts Center. March 5th, ribbon cutting ceremony for Warrior Hall Football Operations Center. March 24th is your visit to the Capitol for MAS.
Any other fine, well,
I'm going. I am the chairman of the legislative committee now, so.
all right.
Okay.
What is it, you 9 o'clock,
I don't know about
March
that.
24th, 9 o'clock probably?
Good on the brain.
Oh,
Will
you'll be
you,
first floor of the council, 9
Steve,
o'clock.
will you give us these lists to Ashley? And
Yep.
have her give us a call the day ahead of that, let us, just remind us. March the 5th is gonna be one of the days we got state aid inspection. We got two things you gotta do that day, I don't know where you get them done. I guess I could go to the ribbon cut.
Ribbon cutting's at 1 o'clock.
stand there and cut the ribbon.
That's all from Steve. George, you got anything over there?
Nothing other than what's on the regular agenda.
Oh,
Did you say Jason was out of town?
Jason did, yeah.
Well, he called me yesterday and said he was gonna be here. We must have misunderstood each other.
Well, he doesn't
Go
order.
ahead, Joe.
I have a challenge guard,
Your name?
around,
Turned up?
most of it, it's like, a lot of it is the guard rail.
Come on.
Do any of y'all have any need for any guard rail?
I do.
I got a read, apparently
I have to have a conference.
rating included in it. I don't know if it'll work or not on this one.
Well, then I need to make a motion. If all y'all need is guard rail, then you're more welcome to start coming to get it. I'm getting it out of my way. And what y'all don't get, I'm gonna try to surplus and put it up to me. And if y'all want it all, that's fine. I mean, that's,
I got,
it's just gotta leave right there.
I got two bridges that don't have bridge rail that was built when I wasn't here that ain't got, and I need to put bridge rail.
All right, and then I know the one on Buckley Road, you gotta have railing. So, sounds like all four of y'all need some railing. I'm gonna keep just a couple of pieces, so if somebody hits a bridge or whatever, and I'm telling you, it's enough to reach from here to you.
Yeah, I need one right out, piece right out here, because I got one up for the last year and I hadn't replaced it yet.
Well, y'all welcome to start coming and get some of it.
What's the length of that? I mean, know what to come with.
It'd be random.
It's, yeah, but most of it's gonna be about,
Most of the Choctaw bridges,
20 foot.
old Choctaw bridges.
No, it's MDOT, it's a whole bunch of, sale years ago up in North Mississippi.
James Bond, I remember when he bought it.
Yes, I mean, it was 18 load, and we've used 4 or 5 pieces, and it is in.
This new
Really,
bridge,
he intended on selling.
I'll talk to you about it.
But I won't go and make a motion to declare whatever y'all don't need as surplus, that's where I can get it out of there. We'll put it up to bid.
Second again, already got.
All in favor?
That'll take a
What
while.
we vote on?
Surplus.
Okay.
Surplus.
Second, sir.
Surplus.
Keep me updated, I'm get behind.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
this, that's probably something. Go ahead. I'll just keep it for now.
You got anything there? Kind of question, but I think I know the answer. We need some milled asphalt. Superior has it at Forest.
In 2 weeks.
Scaled and broken, been hit by lightning. Told us this 10 days ago. Don't know that we're gonna get it in 2 weeks. We need it like yesterday. And I'm wanting to know for certain that we're okay going to Meridian to get it.
No, you are not, because that's one of the ones we've done a 3-year contract, and I can't get Superior to write a letter let us out.
If even though they got it on the yard, you can't go back. That does not make sense, that we can't go
Do we
somewhere
have
else.
that contract?
But we went in a 3-year contract with them, and I've called them and begged them to write us a release letter, and they will not do it.
So he can't furnish you the stuff.
You know, we're still on the contract. We can go to Jackson or
Write a
wherever
letter
and
saying they
buy it,
can't provide it.
because they have it over there, they just don't have it here. Don't make sense to this development.
Next question?
We want to discuss the billing of 911 for the kid.
What now?
Billing of 911 services. Or just wait on that.
Did we agree? Well, Jason put a letter together or something?
He's not here, I guess we should talk about
Wait
it.
on that.
I think that's what we discussed, yes.
Full time.
No time to go on the discovery, see if we're on the executive session.
I got one thing. Health department, the lady, I guess they got a new manager up there. She called me one day this week, said they had some bad potholes in the parking lot, because we temporarily took care of those. And she said the building needs paint inside. And,
Go ahead,
And I was intending to go look this morning, but I didn't have a chance.
It
So
is faded.
I hadn't been in there.
We had to
I
go
know we
with
never,
that.
never did any work.
This is the only one open anymore, isn't it?
Yeah,
This is it for the county.
so I'm gonna go look at it, and, Joe says he has some good painters. And maybe they could do it. And I went down to the DHS office Friday, and if y'all get a chance, just go in there and look at the chairs in the waiting room. I mean, they're in bad condition. I was kind of embarrassed when I saw them, people coming in there. So if I'm ever in Jackson, I'm gonna go by surplus and see can we pick up some chairs for that play. I mean, just drop in that office and look
You talking
sometime.
about in the big room down there with the vote? Well, we need to
No,
do.
no, not that one,
The waiting
the
room.
waiting room.
It was all pieces last time.
Was that not their responsibility?
I know, that's our building, isn't it?
Well, we don't furnish furniture for people's building. I would have thought the Department of Human Services would make that man stumble enough that he can't buy chairs anymore.
Well, it represents us, and it's just terrible. And I know a lot of times we just throw away chairs. That's a whole lot better than what's in there.
Last time I was down there, it was terrible. That was a year and a half ago.
Now that motion, Charles, did y'all wanna say us about anything else?
I'm good, other than Brian he said that he.
I've got some travel, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, that's the only thing.
March 4th, Robbie, crisis track training in Meeman, Pearl. March 5th, Robbie, statewide emergency exercise planning meeting in Partridge. And March 17th, Robbie, training exercise planning in Philadelphia. One motion to take care of that.
Might well take him off the payroll.
Before we do that motion for that travel, we fixing to send Caleb and, who to ICS?
Bridget,
Is it Bridget and Caleb's going to ICS? 300 or 400 or whatever?
I need that too.
He needs that.
I've got to
We
have
had
it.
him in on that because I think that's next week or so, ain't it?
Will be anybody in the office?
I can't remember what day she said it was, but I have to have that too. It's a required.
You got that. That's why when we talked, before we done this travel, we could add it.
I mean, everybody gonna be going at once?
It's a week long. Yeah, it's a week long, like a solid week long class.
So he's gotta take the 100, 200, 300.
I've got all them. All I like on the ICS is the 300 and 400.
The same one that Caleb likes.
Mm-hmm.
So would it be?
I mean, I wait till
wise
next, it
for
don't
us to
matter.
send him and let Caleb stay here?
All
Or,
right, the 300 is gone. That was 11th and 13th. The 8400 is February 26th and 27th.
what is
Next week,
20.
Sonny.
it? So he can
So
get-
it's 2
I
days.
think they said they're having another one though. I think they said they just had one, but they're having another one.
Make a motion to approve him going, let's find out about the date, but I'm like Joe, wouldn't you think it'd be wise if Caleb stayed and you go or what?
Somebody should,
I
yeah.
think
I think that'd be best.
we don't need the whole crew going at one time.
If you have to have it, I mean, you need to go.
Yeah, it's
But,
one of my
Caleb
required
don't
things.
have to have it. I mean, you need
Let's
to
stay
stay here.
there first, that's what.
Yeah.
So you making a motion to pull Caleb back and send him?
If that's what we need to do, if it is at the same time, I'm saying now, if it's not at the same time, it may work out. But I make the motion to
Caleb's
approve.
going to the 400. And if he goes to 400, that means your DMA and the assistant is gonna be the same. 3 days?
2 days, 27, 26 and 27.
That's next week, right?
2 days, it ain't a week of it.
That-
Roll the dice, none of them.
Let's do it, is that your motion?
Okay,
Said something.
It's a 2-day class.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
take a chance, okay?
Can I ask one more question? Will you be here next, the 26th and 27th?
I'll be here.
If we sent them both, if they called, if Robbie called you, could you cover your office and his for 2 days if something come up?
I could, because I have dispatchers in my office, so my dispatcher will be taken care of unless something crazy breaks loose.
Would you
for
do
me.
that for us?
But yes, I can sit in the office.
Can we solve our problem?
She's a problem solver.
Do we get the motion, have a second?
I make a motion that we
I'll
send
second
Robbie.
it then.
All in favor?
No, wasn't any of y'all gonna make the motion.
Well,
I had actually already made
If you add that with him with that.
You add that.
Yes, on, this is planning and development conference, I wanna be on April 28th through May 1st. I'm gonna attend that, and anybody, any other supervisor want to attend, do what?
Yes, where was it at?
You gonna be at the
It's at the Boulder Revolve. It's,
in the swing?
municipality and county official, county economic workforce. It's on the 28th through May 1st at the Boulder Lodge in Biloxi.
You was my second, Mr. President.
All in favor?
What are we voting on?
CPPD convention.
Any other supervisor can go, anybody that wants to go. I've been doing, I think I've gone every year.
I was last year.
Sign Kenny up.
So, we need some reservations.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm gonna get some reservations.
And see, they've got a county meeting this week, next week. I got a card, a letter in the mail from East Central.
East Central Planning and Development, you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Yeah,
that's not what that is.
no, that's, MAPD.
That's the conference that they have every year.
But it's the planning and development district.
Planning, but-
Yeah,
We did get something, they came by, that's what it was.
it's at their annual meeting here in the
What we like,
courthouse.
what we like.
We're gonna talk about use tax, we're gonna even ask them about that.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious, what are we gonna do? We need to figure out how we may divide this use tax up that we've already received some.
$25,000 in a special account. Okay.
Talk about it later. Okay.
Okay, we need to talk about that.
So we need a motion.
I make a motion to go with the executive session, see if it's in order on it. Personnel and economic development.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, guys.
Y'all have a good day.